Bastard, you beat me. You beat me. UFC King Country Shrew, even you dare to beat me, it's really all because of you. Elaine was still tied up, so she didn't have any resistance at all, so she could only let Cynthia output wildly on her face and head. At this time, Elaine was yelling and begging for mercy. Oh, elder sister, please don't beat me. Can I know if I did wrong, knowing that you were wrong? Cynthia was even more furious when she heard this. She blasted the hammer at Elaine and shouted angrily, "You have killed me like this. Just tell you that you know you are wrong? The old lady not only wants it all today? I have to kill you for that." Elaine frightened her ass and blurted out, "Sister, forgive me. Don't forget, you are Charlie's aunt, I am Charlie's mother-in-law, we are relatives. Between relatives, how can we fight like this? If my son-in-law turns against you in the future because of this, you won't be able to hold on to it." Cynthia snorted coldly. "I'm going to your mother. How could I be relatives to a poor ghost like you? If Charlie dares to bring your family back to Wade's house, I will not let him." When Ragnar on the side heard this, he suddenly became energetic and said excitedly, "Ms. Wade, as long as you have a word, I will let people kill this stinky woman." When Elaine heard this, she looked at Cynthia in horror, and begged, "Sister, if you don't look at the face of the monk and the face of the Buddha, you will spare this dog. At most you will label me like Noah and Harold, but let me live." Cynthia also hoped that Elaine would go to HLL. However, she suddenly thought of the father's entrustment to herself, and suddenly she felt a little daunted. She knew that if she really let Ragnar kill Elaine, she was afraid that Charlie would not forgive her. At that time, if Charlie resisted the Wade family, the old master would definitely complain that she didn't get things done properly. Thinking of this, she gave up the idea of killing Elaine, looked at her, gritted her teeth and said, "Should you F*** King talk nonsense with me, the old lady can't kill you because of Charlie's face today, but you are doing a capital offense. It can be avoided, living sins you cannot escape." After finishing speaking, she looked at Ragnar and sternly shouted, "Interrupt her hands and feet." When Ragnar heard this, he immediately said, "Ms. Wade, don't worry, leave it to me." After finishing speaking, the opponent hurriedly shouted, "Come here, give me her hands and feet." As soon as the voice fell, several subordinates rushed over. Elaine was so frightened that she broke down and cried, but the other party directly held on to her, without saying anything, directly picked up the brick and slammed it on Elaine's right knee. At this moment, Elaine fainted almost instantly in pain. When she was in the detention center, her right knee was broken once by Mrs. Wilson. After so long, she had just removed the plaster and recovered within the last few days. This time, she was smashed again. The pain of the heart was so painful. She is desperate. Elaine immediately cried out heartbreakingly, "Please forgive me, my leg has been broken once, and now it happened to be broken again." "You want my life?" Ragnar sternly reprimanded. "Stop the F*** King nonsense, Miss Wade will break your hands and legs. You have just finished a quarter." Elaine screamed out like crazy, "Then you kill me. You kill me, I no longer have to suffer this crime." Ragnar scolded in disgust. "What a F*** King shrew. You guys, quickly get rid of her for me." When the man with the slab was about to attack Elaine's other leg, the door of the warehouse was suddenly kicked open. A dozen men in black with live ammunition quickly filed in and pointed their guns at the people inside. The headed man in black was holding a gun and said coldly, "No one is allowed to move. If anyone dares to move in my sight, be careful that my bullets do not have eyes." Seeing a group of men in black with live ammunition rushing in, everyone was stunned. Ragnar asked nervously, "Who are you?" Among them, the man in black wearing a black mask said coldly, "We are Interpol. We are ordered to investigate a huge transnational fraud case." It was not someone else who spoke, but Charlie's most loyal subordinate, Orville. At this time, Charlie was on the helicopter outside, but he didn't get off. He didn't plan to come forward directly on this matter today, otherwise, there would be no way to explain to his mother-in-law Elaine. At this moment, Ragnar's expression is extremely surprised. "Interpol? Check transnational fraud? What does it have to do with him? He just kidnapped Elaine and Cynthia." Elaine felt as if her nerves were hit by high-voltage electricity all at once, and her whole body trembled. She immediately thought of her tragic experience when she was sent to the cell for stealing Charlie's bank card. However, after a while, she immediately came back to her senses and cried out for help. "Comrade Interpol, help. I am kidnapped by these people, they are going to kill me." The headed man in black walked up to her, checked her injuries, and said coldly to those around him, "Protect the injured first, yes." Several people in black moved at the same time, and then hurriedly stepped forward and dragged Elaine, who has a broken leg now. Elaine saw that she was being protected by a few men in black with guns, and she was completely relieved, and she cried loudly. Seeing that Elaine was protected, Ragnar immediately became anxious. Elaine gave Cynthia a name. If she were protected by Interpol, how could he satisfy Cynthia? So he immediately questioned, "Hey, did you make a mistake? There is no suspect of transnational fraud. Quickly let the woman go." Orville walked directly in front of him, kicked him on his abdomen, kicked him all the way, with the muzzle against his forehead, and said coldly, "What? Are you teaching me to do things here?" Feeling the cold muzzle, Ragnar was so frightened that he immediately waved his hand and said, "I dare not, I just want to confirm." Orville said disdainfully, "No more nonsense, we will take you back to the Vienna headquarters for trial." Cynthia walked over in embarrassment at this time and said to Orville, who was dressed in black, "Is this Interpol? I know the person in charge of your Vienna headquarters. I don't care what you are going to do here. I now ask you to send me first. I want to go to the hospital and you will protect me all the way until someone in my family takes over." Orville looked at Cynthia and sneered for a moment. Without a word, he slapped her loudly. Cynthia sighed. Before she had time to question the reason, Orville sternly shouted, "Roxa, we have been investigating you for a long time. In the beginning, you specially made counterfeit Citibank black gold cards and searched for victims all over the country. The reason why people like Elaine were arrested on suspicion of defrauding the bank because she used the card you made. We have already investigated the fact that you used the alias Cynthia to slander and deceive all over the world. We have already investigated it. Do you dare to argue here?" Cynthia was stunned by this remark.